Hi, welcome to the Divorce Doctor web series and podcast. I'm so glad you're here. On this series, I'm going to be interviewing the leading experts in areas related to divorce. We all know that divorce can be overwhelming and scary, and lots of information can be thrown at you. On the podcast and web series, my goal is going to be to give you clear insight into what steps you might need to take next. You're going to get practical tools, you're going to get expert advice, and I think you'll have some fun along the way. So I'm so glad you're here, Jen. It's so wonderful to have you. And for those of you who've been listening to the podcast, this is kind of a new rebrand of it where we're going specifically to talk about divorce. And honestly, I can't think of anyone better to start this whole series than you.
I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you. So the first question I'd like to start with is just to ask you, tell us a little bit about the story of how you got to start doing the work that you're doing.
Okay. Wow. This is how far back? I guess, it's funny. I think all of us we get divorced and we start a career, right? It's like, what do you do? Right. So, I guess I tell people all the time, I never thought I'd be here. I got divorced. I was married for 12 years and I was a stay-at-home mom. And I had to find something to do. I had to find, I was at home with my kids and I was a DJ before that and a dance instructor. Oh, and then I had my babies and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm divorced. Oh my God, what am I going to do? And I was sitting there one day and I was with my 11-year-olds and I'm like, oh my gosh, I think I want to write a blog, but mommy has no idea how to use a computer and I don't even know how to do it. Like, Mom, just go to blogger.com and I'll help you. And that was kind of how it started. And I started writing a blog, and I never thought that anyone would read it. I thought to myself, who wants to listen to me? And it'll be cathartic. It'll be fine. I'll post it up and see what happens. And I was shaking and I was like, I'm just going to push send or push publish. And I kind of did. And next thing I knew, I had crazy numbers, people were reading my stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, but mostly people were saying, you're actually saying what I'm thinking. And, that was kind of cool, because I was writing about separation and being a stay-at-home mom and what I was going to do next. And so that's kind of how it started. I started writing before I started doing anything else.
Mm-hmm. And knowing you probably were writing really from the heart and honestly and talking about
very raw
struggles, not just pretending everything was going great.
No, I was like, let's just blah. I was just kind of like diarrhea, opening up and here it is. And I was struggling and I was hurting and I was horrified. I was scared. I had no idea. I didn't know what I was doing. And then I kind of noticed that not only did I not know what to do, but I had nowhere to go. I was losing my friends. I had no one around me divorced. I was struggling from all aspects of everything, right? My kids were struggling. But one thing that I noticed, my ex-husband and I call him my husband and I were friends. Everything was really weird. Everything around me was amicable, right? My divorce was great. We were good friends, but everything else was awful. So I kind of thought to myself, maybe I will start talking about how to be in a happy divorce because my divorce was really happy, but everything else kind of sucked. So it was really weird. That's kind of where it all started. And my blog was called The Truth Hurvitz. And then I wrote a book called One Happy Divorce, Hold the Bullshit.
Yeah.
So,
that's so great. Yeah. So that's so interesting what you're saying, which is that even with the amicable relationships with your ex, you still found that other things were really difficult.
Oh my gosh. So difficult. Well, it's funny. I really, just to be honest, I think divorce sucks. I think it sucks. And I think that you don't realize how bad it is until you actually go through it. Mm-hmm. And so, my parents were married for 50 plus years or 45 years, I think, 50 now. My sister's married. Everyone around me was married. I live in Charlotte. Everyone's married. My friends are married. I had no one around me that was really honest that said, hey, this is what divorce is really going to look like. And I kind of jumped and leaped into this. I thought my marriage was really, really bad. And it really maybe wasn't as bad as I thought it was after I realized, hey, divorce is really bad too. I think kind of with me.
Yeah. And there probably weren't a lot of people who could hold that gray with you, right? That would be able to say, okay, I get that your marriage was a struggle. Maybe divorce was the best or not the best choice. Right. It sounds like people felt like they might have had to take sides. It's great that you got divorced or terrible.
Exactly. And I think now we have so many coaches and therapists and people that can say, hey, let's look, maybe divorce isn't the right option, or maybe you could do some more work, or what if you stayed, or what if you go? There's kind of like, there's great people out there that now that actually have programs. Should I stay? Should I go?
Mm-hmm.
Like that kind of thing. I think I just thought my option was to go. And I kind of leaped, and I kind of went.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't look back. In 5 years out, jumping forward 5 years out, I was kind of like, was that the right option? Which is my second book, Woulda, Coulda, Shoulda, A Divorce Coach's Guide to Staying Married. I kind of used my mistakes, quote unquote, to help other people kind of realize maybe I should have stayed.
Mm.
It's kind of where my work came. And then I kind of evolved into being a divorce coach, which is kind of different. People don't realize what a divorce coach actually is.
Yeah. Can you share a little bit about what that is?
If I talk too much, let me know. I know that
I love it.
You're a doctor therapist, right? So I don't do what you do. I actually send people to you when they come to me and they're like, I'm emotionally this. I'm like, no, you've got to go. That's not my thing. I'm more like a thinking partner, kind of. If someone comes to me and they're like, they need kind of help go through the ropes of it. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of the logistics. That's more me. I don't do therapy and like emotional head stuff. That's you.
Yeah.
They're not in my space. That's not I don't have a degree in therapy.
Right. But I think it's such an important complement to the work that I do as a therapist, because sometimes when people come into my office, I do have that desire to get really tactical and get really specific and kind of coach them or tell them what to do. And I have to remind myself that part of what I've created in the container of the therapy is that I'm not going to do that I'm going to hold space for their emotions.
Because they need you.
Yeah.
And they need you. And they'll come to me and they'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling this one. I'm like, whoa, because that's not my jam. I can help you with, before you get to the attorney, I can help answer questions about child, co-parenting and that kind of thing, and what to say and what not to say. And, if you feel like those things are like more my thing, like I'm more like a cheerleader. That kind of thing.
You're also providing an amazing service, because
thank you.
Those words that you said, like co-parenting and the lawyer, I mean, those are just, sparks of fear that, that people, and especially when you're just starting to process the divorce. And the women in my program are in different situations. Some of them were the ones who asked for the divorce. In your situation, some of them, they were totally surprised. To have someone who can really say, these are the steps you need to take, here are some things to think about, it's so valuable.
Right. And I feel like I can save them some money too, because I know I didn't have a coach and I had no idea, like, do I go to a mediator? Do I go to collaborative law? Am I supposed to go to an attorney? And so by the time I got to my mediator, I had no idea what I was supposed to do there. Yeah. And I felt like I was asking her asking her questions, which would have saved me money had I had a coach, I would have had a coach.
Totally.
Or if I would have had my therapist was kind of like, I needed her for other things. And then she was like, that's kind of not my thing. And I was spending so much money because everyone's by the hour or by the minute.
That's such a good point. Right.
And I was like, wait a minute, if I would have had someone cut me off here, I would have saved there. Does that make sense?
My God, that makes so much sense. Yeah. And it's so cool because you're actually doing exactly what you needed when you got divorced, right? So you were saying all this stuff went to crap and you didn't, and so many things were challenging. Right. And if you could have had someone to say, okay, put your, you don't need to talk. I feel like this idea of like, you don't need to talk to your lawyer about your emotional stuff. Like I can't tell you how many times I sat with my lawyer and like cried and like, sure, that's fine. But she's not going to provide anything for me. That it's a complete waste of time.
And she's going, wait a minute, I'm charging you $300 an hour. But and you're like, she wants you to be quiet because she's like, I got other things to do. Right.
Exactly.
I told you that. And you would have just, gone to the right person and directed you.
Yeah.
And it's just like so much easier. Right. And so I remember talking to a mediator about co-parenting and she couldn't answer the questions that I needed answered. But if I had a coach, like a divorce coach, I could have spent the right, so
I know. It's so valuable having you.
So valuable, right? But I remember like thinking, God, I wish I had my therapist to talk to about this, but I'm at my attorney's office and I can't be, it's like,
absolutely. I think I remember remembering also like all the different notebooks, it's like the therapist notebook, the lawyer notebook, right? The custody notebook, like
totally
all those 3-ring binders, right?
Yeah. And then also I like, with me, I like to do the dating is my favorite. That's my favorite thing, like dating after divorce, which is totally so much later, right? So even I tell my clients, don't even come to me until a year after you're separate. I give yourself a year to heal. So I feel like I think people need you right away. Like you need a therapist right out of the gate. Whereas me, I feel like they come to me a little bit later, down the road a little bit even, if they want to date and get into that whole aspect where I'm writing online dating profiles or I'm helping with that kind of thing. I love that. It's my favorite.
Oh, that's so great. Because I think that's also something, especially the women that I've been working with in my program who have been out of the dating scene. As you said, 10, 20 years, we didn't have internet dating, right? So
it's a nightmare.
I know. So being able to have the guidance, I feel like what I can do and what therapists can do is kind of help them see patterns. I always talk about, like, look, we could take your ex or husband's inventory till they're blue in the face, but let's figure out why you got in that relationship.
Right. And I feel like you're a healer for them, right? So people come to me and they're like, I'm ready to date. I'm like, are you really? Did you get a check on the box from the therapist? Let your therapist tell you if you're ready to date, get you ready and heal yourself and find out who you are as a single woman.
Right.
You're different as a you, right?
Yeah.
A single person before you can actually be healthy in a relationship again.
Absolutely.
So I feel like then they come to me and they're like, I got it. I'm good. I got the check on the box. My therapist says I can date. I'm like, great. Come on,
Right.
Yeah.
So what happens? How do you notice when someone needs a little bit more internal work? Like, what are some of the signs?
Oh gosh. Oh, I mean, I've got women or men that come to me and they're like, they seem super eager and they can't be alone. The first red flag for me is, oh no, I'm good. I've got this. It's been, 15 minutes. I'm on it. I'm ready to go. And I'm like, girl, how long have you been separated? In Charlotte, it has to be a full year to be separated for a full year before you can get divorced.
Okay.
So I have women coming to me and they're like, nope, I'm good. We just got divorced last week, but I'm on it. Let's go. Let's jump on Tinder. And I'm like, no, let's take a deep breath because that was me. And I'm like, wait a minute. So I'm like, learn from my mistakes. Let's not do that.
So did you do that? Did you just jump into dating?
I jumped right in because I thought to myself, you know what? Like I got this. I'm good. But here's the problem. No one can tell you when you're going through it, right? Like no one, I thought I was right. I knew it. Right? I did not.
But maybe even, Jen, if we think about this, maybe you were right. Like maybe you needed to have those experiences in order for you to end up having this good relationship that you're in now, right?
Maybe, but I just feel like I needed to do so much more work on me because that first relationship out of the gate killed me. It killed me. It was more devastating, I think, than my own divorce. Which was, I don't think I needed that. I really don't think I needed that. I'm like, did I really need that? Did my kids, I started dating. I feel like I introduced my kids way too soon to people.
Right.
Huge mistake. I feel like now I tell my clients, you don't need to. Let's not even go there.
Right.
I just feel like I have so much more knowledge.
Yeah, definitely. And I can so understand that need and that desire, especially, you just feel so gutted by a divorce.
Oh, God,
and
that's a great
anything,
word.
right? So anything that could feel uplifting or make the kids happier or you happier, you just like jump at it. And you mentioned this about this idea of impulsivity. Like there is this, right? There's really this quickness to it.
That is.
And slowing down the process, is always really
hard.
Right.
Well, you feel like you need to fill that void really quickly because you lost it, right? So you feel like if you can get back out there, just fill that ache, that void, but you got to suppress that and go see you. I feel like I didn't. I'm like, no, I'm good. But I was not good.
I know. And some of those heartbreaks, I remember having that too after and thinking, why is this hurting so much? Oh my God. And I realized it was the old stuff.
Yeah. But you know what I think why for me too is that I feel like I had a little more control over my divorce and my choices because I knew that even the mediation, I knew it was coming next. But with my first breakup, like right out of the gate, he broke up with me. And I was like, wait, what do you mean? I was like, what? Again? This is happening? Wait. And I was like, wait a minute. This was supposed to be it. It was supposed to be it. And I was like, it was just god awful. So I tell my clients, I'm like, just give yourself a break.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you're such an amazing example, I think, of what I think one of the gifts of divorce is that you do become much more of a gray thinker, a nuanced thinker.
True. That's
right?
true.
Things are not black and white.
They are not.
Body that nuance.
Right. Oh gosh, thank you. Yeah. You know what? it's remarkable to me because it is difficult though, because when I have a client that comes in and they're great thinkers, they're not so sure. I kind of get, I feel the same way. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, well, maybe. And then they'll be like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, I want to be like, so, but I feel the same way for them too. Cause I never want someone to jump so quickly without really, really thinking hard,
Right.
especially if they have kids.
Right.
You know,
one of the things, Jen, that I heard that I thought was wonderful was that when somebody can't make a decision, when they're not sure either way yet of staying or going, that is actually a decision. That is a state, right?
I agree. Yes. Like that means there's something there that's making them right? Question it. So if you're questioning it, why not breathe and take a little more time? Don't you think?
Absolutely. I think that the crux of it is taking time, right?
Yeah.
Of not rushing. And the truth is, when you end a relationship, usually you've taken some time.
And here's the thing too, of course there's a caveat. Like if you're in an emotionally abusive, physically, get out. That's my first chapter of my book. Don't even think twice.
Yeah.
I'm talking about people who have that glimmer of hope or the heart doesn't flutter anymore when they walk in the door at the end of the day. I mean,
Right.
So.
It's also interesting because I talk in my online program about the expectations we have for marriage.
Yes.
Because I think it's really important to think about, familially where we got expectations from media. I mean, every fairy tale ends with happily ever after.
Yes.
So if you start having some conflict or you're not as turned on by your partner, then you're like, it must be over. Right?
That's my TED Talk. That's how I start my TED Talk. I'm like, oh, it's a perfect spot. That's it. Right. But I just feel like you're so right about the expectations. I watched The Bachelor on Monday night and I'm like, oh my God, I yell at my boyfriend. I'm like, see what he's doing for her? Did you see that date? He's like, Jennifer, the producer set that up. I'm like, oh.
And you should know that having been in TV, you're like, I should know that the best.
I get so mad though. I'm like, why doesn't he do that for me? I'm like, really? Like, Jen, I'm like, he's like, Jennifer, that's all set up. I'm like, it's like expectations, right?
Absolutely. It's so important. I think that's one of the key things.
Totally.
So one of the things I wanted to ask you is, what's the thing that you say over and over to people that you have this thing? I have this image of wanting to tattoo it on my head, be like, oh my God, I say this so many times.
I have a couple things, but one thing that I learned that I did take this from a really good friend of mine who's a colleague. He's actually a divorce attorney, and he was on my show, and he says to people, and he said to me, and I use it all the time, is it's not about finding the right partner. It's about being the right partner. And I love that. I just love it. David Glass, he said it to me and he was on my show and I'm like, oh my God, that's awesome. Right. So I tell people, don't find the right partner. It's not about looking for the right partner. It's about being the right partner. I just thought that was really cool. It really resonates.
I love that. That really
awesome.
It also really resonates with how I teach about really going on a date first with yourself.
Oh, right? I love that.
Figuring out what you want to do first.
Yes, I think it's good for today. That was a good theme.
Yeah, so good.
I just loved it. I thought it was really, and I tell my clients, I'm like, don't keep looking for someone else, right? Try to be the person that you want to be for the other person, right? Be that person. Show up every day.
Yeah.
And I don't think in my marriage I did. I think I expected my husband to be that guy all the time. I look back and I'm like, God, Jen, you were such a bitch. You were just such a bitch. And I wrote my book, very frankly, that I was I was emasculating and I always thought I could do it better and faster and quicker. And I was always right. And I never gave him a chance to even be the guy that he could be. Right. I always get so sad when I talk about it, but looking back, I guess woulda, coulda, shoulda, I had to see that out, 5 years later, I had to see that and own it now. So. Yeah.
And I think you're so brave to admit it and also so not alone. There are so many women who, feel like they're trying to get what they want by controlling.
Yeah, I was so great.
Don't realize that that's not the best way to get somebody love to get what you want.
And I feel like I thought that I do think that by controlling was the only control I had over the situation, maybe. With having 2 babies and and under 2 and with him working all the time, I thought that maybe that was it, but look, no excuse really,
Yeah.
So.
Right. And also he never, to be fair to you, he never said, stop controlling me.
Never.
He?
No. And you know what? It was I just assumed that he liked it. That was his thing. Exactly. He didn't know how to change the diaper.
Exactly.
I could do it better, but like, he should have said, Jen, we
Exactly.
got this. But, now looking back, it's like, and he said, I apologized to him once and I said, Mark, I'm so sorry. And he's like, Jen, stop beating yourself up. I suck too. I'm like, we both kind of had our word, so it's okay.
Right. It was the dance, right?
Yes, it was the
Dance between
dance.
the two of
Totally,
you.
totally. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So crazy.
So you said there was another phrase too that you
I'm
like to
trying to
share?
think of, what was the other one that I was thinking of? Oh, I can't remember now.
It'll flow
I
back.
think, yeah,
If it flows
it'll
back,
come back. I'm just,
totally fine. Yeah. So the other question I'd love to ask you is, through divorce and through healing, we always need to use self-care. So I'm
Oh
just
gosh.
wondering, what is your go-to self-care tool?
You know what? I need to be better. It's so funny. I tell everybody else, take care of yourself, breathe, do meditation. And then I really don't take enough time for myself.
Mm,
I say that I'm going to. I was meditating for a while, trying really hard to do it. And then I would sit down to do it and like something would come up and I'd jump up and do it. Right? So bad.
right.
Yeah, self-care for me, really, I got to do better. I've got to
Yeah.
do better.
Well,
Yeah.
that's your growing edge. So let me
Yeah.
ask you a question. Do you
Yeah.
have a sense of what keeps you from doing it? Do you have a sense of what keeps you from taking the time to do
Yeah. I
something?
think it's just the hustle. I think I'm hustling and to be, just to get to the next thing. And it's not, I always feel like my shoulders are up so high.
Yeah.
I feel like I need a coach.
Well, you're bringing up a great point, Jen, that so often we can
Yes.
suggest things to other people that are
Yes.
still really, really difficult for us
Right.
to do.
But I feel like coaches need coaches and therapists need
Yes,
therapists. Don't you think? Like,
absolutely. I
yeah.
mean, most psychology programs require you to have a therapist. One, to learn and to model some behavior, but
Yeah.
also to be really clear about what might be getting kicked up for you when you're
Yeah.
working with people.
Right.
So I'm just wondering, Jen, like, is there a time of day where there's it's slower, the hustle?
Probably at the end of the day when I'm a junkie for like reality TV lately. Like
Yeah.
it's like my mindless, like just sit and I just get really excited when something is on TV and I can just sit there and not think about anything
Mm-hmm.
or just,
Mhm.
I feel like that's my jam. But yeah, I
So
think that's,
maybe like right before you watch the show, are the shows recorded for like, or
no, I like to watch them when they
like
happen because
live?
I don't like people to ruin it for me.
Yeah, I
I'm like,
understand, right?
stop doing that. You're on the social media ruins it for me when they get on there like, oh, Peter chose this one. I'm like, stop that.
I know.
I like
So
to watch it live.
during the commercials, maybe during the
Yes.
commercials, you can just feel your butt in the chair, feel your
Yes.
feet on the floor,
Yes.
take deep breaths until the
Yes.
commercials are over. I mean, you can do something super small that
Totally.
it weaves into your
I
regular
do it
day.
sometimes at like when I'm picking up my kids from baseball or whatever. But
Mhm.
then, Zach will jump in the car and I'll be like, it's just,
Right.
I know it's crazy, right? I think
No, you can do small things though. That's
yeah,
the thing.
yeah,
Like this whole idea of like, I have to sit down for 15 minutes.
right.
I mean, when you have two kids, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah,
And
crazy.
you're running around and you're working and you're
Yeah. And you know what else happens to me is then I beat myself up for not doing it, which is even worse. That's even worse. So I feel
Exactly.
like I'm not going to, right.
You know that in mindfulness-based stress reduction created by John Kabat-Zinn, there's a couple of things that they describe, and one is actually washing the dishes. Like when you're washing the dishes, simply to be focused on the suds, on the
Oh,
feeling.
I
Yeah,
could
just
do
on the
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
anything. Brushing your teeth. Sometimes I
I
do.
like to take baths.
Baths.
I
Well,
like
that's
to take
beautiful
baths. I
self-care.
didn't think about that. I love that. Sometimes I don't like to get out of the bath though. That's the problem. I get in and I'm like, you know what? Let's just stay here for a while, like 2 hours.
That's a good example of really what happens when we actually let our bodies
I know.
have what they want,
Yes,
right?
I just love a good bath. I just thought about that. I'm like, wait a minute. What about my baths I take every night? There you go. I just
There you
forgot.
go. It's
I
perfect.
forgot.
No need to beat yourself up.
Exactly.
Beating stuff up over. So you mentioned, wanting to beef up your self-care, but is there anything else that you were saying that you would need a coach for? Because I love to talk to coaches and people who are
Oh, yeah.
helping people about like how we also need help.
Oh my gosh. I'm trying to think how else. I don't know. I think that basically just, I have this, I was saying I have this TED talk coming up in April and it is, I might not make it. I'll be honest. I don't quit many things, but this has been tough. This has been a really tough.
Really?
I don't know if it's Charlotte or if it's just the whole thing. I don't know if you've done a TED talk.
I'm working on it now with someone who's actually a TED Talk coach. So if you want to be connected,
I'm not allowed to coach outside. I'm not allowed to have a coach outside of Charlotte. They give us coaches here, but it's a different coach every week. And I think that's the problem because every week I get different feedback and it's not consistent and it's not congruent and I'm having a really hard time. And I think that I need to, maybe it's just the way it's going on here. So it's been really tough for me, really super tough. So we'll see. Maybe somewhere else would be better.
Yeah.
Hard.
Sounds like that's, yeah. I'm wondering also, just popped into my head, am I being right or wrong? But I'm wondering if it's hard when you have so many people giving you feedback to really trust your instinct.
That's the problem.
You might feel really sure about something.
I did. I thought it was, look at, it's been going on since August.
Wow.
It's been 6 months of this. So like, I thought that my talk was done and good and the idea was solidified. And then every week it changes. So I have no idea. Like if you ask me, what's your idea? I'd be like, I don't know. And that's really tough. Seeing as it's 6 weeks away and I don't know my idea.
Right.
That's a problem for me.
Right. We'll talk about uncertainty, right?
Yeah.
And that's definitely something that I talk so often with people in my program about, how to tolerate that uncertainty. This is an example of that. Well,
great.
In
Maybe I should talk to you after.
Can.
It's rocking my world, really. I'll be honest. I'm honestly like to the point where if I don't by Friday know what I'm talking about, I think I'm.
Yeah. Well, what would it be like if you shifted again your expectation that actually you won't know what you're talking about until 2 weeks before? Like, what if you just the expectation?
I should handle that. How am I supposed to? Like, how do you memorize an 15-minute talk
in 2 weeks?
In 2 weeks.
So really,
I don't know if I can. I don't know. I don't know if it's in my person to be able. I'm type A to be that.
Right.
To do that. I don't.
Right.
It's kind of a big, lofty. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I'll be okay if if it's not Charlotte.
Yeah.
I don't want to waste my idea, my talk.
Mm-hmm.
It's not done right.
Yeah.
I'll just go to I'll try out for a different city or a different place.
Yeah.
But I guess in Charlotte, you can only do a talk in Charlotte if you're from Charlotte.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't realize.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of rules, and maybe that's also part of what you're pushing up against, which is all rules. I don't know how much you love rules.
I am a rule follower. I'll be honest. I like to give rules myself, but I don't really like to listen. So maybe that's it.
Who knows?
Who knows? Oh my gosh, this is awesome.
I can't wait to see it though. No, it's so fun to talk to you, and your work is so important. And I don't know that lots of people know about divorce coaches. So tell me, if somebody wanted to work with you and find out all about your books, and
it's easy. It's easy. It's JenniferHurvitz.com, and it's Hurvitz with a V, not a W. So it's Jennifer Hurvitz. Hurvitz.com. And then I'm just everywhere. I'm just, Instagram and Facebook, and it's Jennifer Hurvitz.
And you have an amazing podcast.
Oh, thank you. Oh yeah. Doing Divorce Right. I forgot about that. I'm like, hey, you were on my show. Yay. I loved it. We'll have to put up your episode again. You'll have to come back. Doing Divorce Right. It's really fun. And we talk about all kinds of fun stuff over there, and it's good.
I think what you bring to this topic too, Jen, is such an honesty and a presence of mind, and also really like no holds bar about how hard things can be and how great they can be. And I think that's really important, because once you've gotten through the divorce, you don't need anything sugar-coated, right?
I don't sugarcoat anything, right?
Yeah, no, you're not a sugarcoater.
No, exactly. If you've listened to my podcast, you'll know I don't sugarcoat. Yeah, right.
Exactly. So if there's anything else you want to add about your work?
Thank you for having me.
It's so great to talk to you. I could talk to you for hours.
I know, right? Anytime. I'll come back anytime.
Oh, good. You will, for sure.
Okay, good. You too. Come to mine.